with another podcast, looking up into the screen. So what we got today is we get a lot of questions around osteoporosis and bone health, certainly in the, obviously, people over 40 category, obviously. So we thought we'd ask Alex his thoughts on osteoporosis, and I guess around like what is it, and how you can kind of, if not prevent it completely, but at least, minimize it, yeah. So over to you.
Hey guys, so osteoporosis, so essentially it's a fancy term for your bones becoming fragile, you lose the calcium content, and people who are particularly at risk of getting osteoporosis are women. After the age of 40, particularly 15, even more so after 60. Unfortunately, when women go through menopause, apart from all the other ill effects of menopause, losing bone mass, it actually is one of those side effects. So it is something that needs to be managed, something to be aware of, and genetics actually plays a big part as well. So if your mum, grandma had osteoporosis, it is a good idea to check with your doctor, just maybe run some tests and just check if you are at risk as well. But as far as the fitness and exercise is concerned, there are certain things that you can actually do to either prevent getting osteoporosis, reduce the risk, and if you do have it now, you can help it as well to try and strengthen the bones. Okay. So osteoporosis, I guess what can happen if you have osteoporosis? Most of the time it's pain-free. Okay, so you don't. That's the kind of the hard thing about osteoporosis. You don't know until it's too late. Okay, and the way it will manifest itself, you might have a very minor accident. You might have a little fall and then you break your bones very easily. Okay, so you might have heard about people breaking their hip. So those tend to be like the older people. That's a very nasty injury to have. It's pretty much, it can have a very long-term effects on the whole body. So I guess the best thing as ever is prevention. So how do we prevent osteoporosis? And the answer is, so one of the answers is exercise, but not just any exercise. It's the weight-bearing exercises, the higher impact exercise that tends to help you re-strengthen your bones.
So with that sort of thing, because it's like you can't see it, and as you said, you end of the day you'll have a fall, you break a hip, and as we know, it's life changing and is quite a low success rate, and really there's a mortality rate attached to a hip break, isn't it, with some people, right?
Well, that's right. Yeah. So the break itself doesn't kill you, but what will happen is because you can't move, your cardiovascular fitness just goes really downhill. I've seen it myself a number of times, and that is what actually makes it really dangerous.
Sure. So like how could you be proactive? Because you said prevention is better than cure, as always. Like, but how do you know what your bone density currently is? Like, how do you check that out?
Well, you don't. Like you can't see it with a naked eye. Okay. So the one thing that could possibly, if you're a female, maybe in your 50s, 60s or older, if you have a thin build, okay. Particularly if you were dieting hard in your 20s and 30s, there's something called peak bone mass, okay, and that's basically your bone density when you're 25, okay. So that's your highest point. That your bones will pretty much never be stronger than that, okay. That's as good as it's ever gonna get, okay. Now, if you're one of those women that used to diet themselves in your teenage years, in your early 20s. Your highest ever, your maximum bone density will, if it is lower than your normal average person, so it's only downhill from there. So that means you are at risk because you never achieved your full potential in terms of bone strength. And so from that lower point, you keep going down, 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 down. Okay. So I guess as risk factor, yeah, that's it. Like if you didn't have proper nutrition when you were younger, that's definitely one of those risk factors. Apart from that, like you can't tell you have osteoporosis until you go and you have to do something called DEXA scan. So a DEXA scan is kind of like an X-ray, but it is designed specifically to analyze your bone health, your bone strength. Okay, so that's the only way you can know for sure whether you do or you don't have osteoporosis.
So how can you arrange that then? Where would you go?
So in most cases, you just need to go and speak to your doctor.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
So like, is there a percentage of bone density you lose over time, or would you know those numbers off the top of your head, or?
I don't want to. To be honest, I wouldn't know the exact number percentages wise. What I do know is that you, as I said, after 25, you start to lose a little bit of bone mass, bone density pretty much every decade, and that's for both men and women. Now, when you go through menopause, that process speeds up significantly. Okay, so there's a kind of that drop off. If I could show you a graph that after sort of 45, 50, you start to really lose that bone density.
Cool. So when you said load bearing exercises, what would be an example?
So anything to do with you being up on your feet, standing up. Okay, so walking, just simple as that. Do more walking. Squats, lunges. You could do higher impact exercises such as you can do a skipping rope, right? You can do a bit of running if you're into running. Now, running and skipping rope, obviously, this is not for everyone. Okay, if you've got bad knees, bad hips, certainly I wouldn't recommend you do that. But if you can, those higher impact exercises will be more helpful in improving your bone strength, because any impact. So the way this works is the body adapts. Okay, the body is designed to adapt to whatever stresses we're putting on it. Okay, as long as those stresses are not completely overwhelming, as long as you give your body enough time to adjust, whatever stress you're putting on your body will try and get used to it. It will try and adapt itself so it can withstand those forces, those stresses better in the future. So in the same way, when you have, let's say, you have weaker bones, you do more high impact stuff, so the bones naturally get stronger to withstand the force. Another good example is when they send astronauts back into space, right? So there's no gravity there, there's no impact. So they're floating, right, for weeks. They could be there's no gravity, no impact. So when they come back to Earth, they actually put them through a bone strength re-strengthening program, because they lost so much bone mass because there was no stress on their bones. So therefore, they started to lose significant amounts of bone strength. So that's a good example of if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, sure. It's quite a big thing, isn't it? We see it a lot here. So awesome. I don't think I've got anything else for that.
Cool.
Fantastic.
So if you need further advice on what exercise will be better for you, for your specific situation, come and talk to us. Send us a message.
Cool, guys. So like I said, if with this podcast, the only way it gets out really is if you to like it and subscribe to it and give us a review. So if you do like what you're listening to, please take a couple of seconds to review the podcast. Give us your honest review. 1 to 5 is all good, but it helps us adjust and make kind of the stuff that you want to listen to. So see you later.
Now.
Okay guys, so I hope you found the podcast of value. If you did and you're struggling with your own health and fitness journey, there's a link in the description for a free discovery call with me. And that free discovery call, we're going to cover off a little bit about you, your history, your goals, what you want to achieve, and maybe we can help you or not with your own health and fitness goal. So if that does sound like something that you'd like to do, then click on the link in the description, and I look forward to chatting to you in the very near future. Have a good day guys, bye bye.